strive to be more spiritual if we can, be more righteous if possible. Whether they all achieve that is something else. But, you know, Jews have, in large numbers, followed intellectual activity. And they have, I think, you know, I don't want to generalize about how Jews are, but I don't think they're particularly cruel people. And they certainly aren't really big on physical violence in the family or physical violence against others. If they can fight an army, as you now have been proven. I don't think people realized in the 19th century that Jews could fight an army effectively. But now some people think they're one of the most effective fighting armies, except for this last fiasco in Lebanon, that there is out there. So I think that really surprised people. And that's just a matter of discipline and intellectuality and dedication and sacrifice and commitment. But people didn't think that because they wouldn't go out in the playground and box everybody or something like that, or throw people in the trash bins. That used to happen in my playground when I was in junior high. They used to have this thing of trash binning people. There were no teachers or anyone. They would simply run around and just grab wherever they could grab and throw them in trash bins. That was really fun. I don't think any Jews ever did that to people. You know, it's just some weird mindset that you've got in this mass psychosis, the way children sometimes are, who are undisciplined and who have experienced physical violence in the house. If they experience physical violence in their own house, they tend to inflict physical violence on other people. And I don't think there's any physical violence I've ever seen in most Jewish households. It's just not in the cards. They just don't do it. So anyway, so there may be some so you know, they try to be in a certain way. I don't think they're perfect, and I don't think they think of themselves as perfect. But as an objective fact, with all its important consequences for religion, this chosenness has lost its validity. I think some of us would agree. Obviously, the Orthodox could never assent to this. So this is extreme Reform Judaism right off the get-go, 1840s, 50s. The concept of tribal holiness and special vocation arising from this, which made special purity laws and things, has become foreign to us. Also, the idea of an intimate covenant between God and Israel, which is significant for all eternity, that's foreign to us. How would these ideas sit with Orthodox Jews? I mean, maybe Orthodox Jews really don't believe this, but they wouldn't be able to ever say such things as you have here. So we're really getting a real split here. What you got in those pages there? What are you doing?
Oh, nothing.
Huh?
Nothing.
Well, take them outside and do it.
Papers.
Oh, well, you know, it distracts me, so I appreciate it if you need to do it outside, or just hold off for, I got a half hour more here. Okay, the concept of, let's see what else we have here. We consider man as chosen and closer to God as he exemplifies these gifts and witnesses to them through virtue. So, you know, more like what one might call in the old times adoptionist baptism or sonship, that as you become more righteous, you become more like a son of God. So these characteristics should be illustrated by advances in righteousness. I don't think there's anything to argue with them on those points. Let's look at Revelation then. A revelation to us is the divine illumination of the Spirit of our fathers, which does not exceed the natural limits of human ability, and which is therefore capable of continued development. So it's an ongoing thing, it can go on. Again, I don't think that the Orthodox would like any of this, but I'm not sure it's so offensive or even unreasonable or, you know, out of touch with reality. I think it probably is in touch some of it with reality. The question is, how far are they going to go and what are they going to discard? So some of this is expressed quite eloquently, I think you see. Consequently, when our sacred texts speak of a revelation which many of our fathers received in the course of supernatural events, We can only consider such texts in accordance with our religious convictions as a living expression of subjective faith. In other words, when we have the revelation on Mount Sinai before 600,000 people, that's okay, but it really is quite an incredible thing that you really want to believe it in actuality. It's, as I said, more of a subjective. Subjective means something within you to pay homage in some way, not an objective fact. So they're being very enlightened here, as you see. So what's the problem? Well, again, it's how far they go. Okay, this feeling filled with the power of inner truth invested our fathers with a sense of blessing. But for us, we must deny its objective factuality. I think Christians are having the same problem with Jesus and the miracles, and walking on water, the multiplication of the loaves, and you know, all of the, how many fishes there are, and all this sort of thing that you get in the Gospels that are characteristics of, you know, Hellenistic ancient literature. And if you want to call those objective historical reality, I think you're going to be pretty hot water in the space age. No, you're welcome to hold on to them. There's nothing wrong with having, you know, being obvious. He's saying, they're saying subjective religious reality. Again, I don't say they're wrong, and I'm not saying that, but you have the same problem that they're having. That is that they are having a problem with some of these extravagant claims in the Old Testament. And I think any modern person who's on his computer is going to have problems with extravagant claims in the New Testament as well. But again, it's not for me to judge. That's for you guys who are, you know, inheritors of the New Testament. You have to decide those things. I certainly can't do it. Okay, but they're giving you a way out. The way they did it in 1850. I don't think if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, okay. Our ancestors in all the Jewish antiquity were thoroughly convinced that God, of whose holy being and will they had the noblest conception, had illumined their spirit and revealed to them the highest truths. They felt this so deeply that they could speak of the act of revelation with a living sense of immediacy. I guess, again, Christianity could say the same thing and express itself in the same way as they're expressing it here. So you can read this yourselves. The Ten Commandments, he goes on, you know, about the revelation, are not more important or holy because they were revealed with some great miracle, if you like. They're important because they are in themselves a holy expression, if you like, of the human spirit. The divinely illumined human spirit is and remains the last source of judgment to decide which revelation is greater or smaller. Look at here. Again, it's human spirit, the Geist.